And it's recording. Thank you for coming here.
My pleasure.
It's really interesting because, like I said, it's not every day that you will meet someone of your caliber. I've been thinking about this phrase that I never felt so safe in my life than today. So, when did you start with martial arts?
Actually, of all the things that I could say that I've become at least somewhat of a high performer in. Martial arts was the first. So, man, I had a very kind of, you could say, mundane childhood. Alberta boy, raised on a farm, but in
Oh,
school.
born and raised here.
Yeah, in school though, I was bullied. Like
You were
I
bullied
was a target. I was very,
because you were
very
small
yeah,
when you were young?
yeah. I mean, I was kind of shy, kind of quiet, and really awkward with small talk. To be honest, I still feel that way. I still feel like I'm not communicating is not necessarily my strong suit. But anyway, I was bullied, and it reached a peak in grade 10. When I started high school, it reached a level where I was like gonna be suicidal or homicidal soon.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to kill someone.
Yeah, they
You know,
they are
it
pushing
was
you
like
to the brink.
Like it was, they were pushing me to the brink. Like when you hear GSP, I relate to his stories so much, man. Like when he says that he just wanted to get through the day and get not. I never got physically beat on. It wasn't really like that, and I kind of, that part of his story is like, it's really hard to believe, but emotionally, mentally tormented, like
Yeah.
in humiliating ways. Like
Yeah.
it's just like I would just be like, do you really have to do this? Like, is this really the way it is? Like you
Why
you
are
have
these
to
kids doing
constantly,
this?
day after day,
Yeah.
like it was awful. It was really sucked, man.
Yeah.
So I reached a breaking point where this one guy who was there was three guys in particular. One, it was almost a skit, you know. One was the big, huge, fat guy who was really pushy and thought he was all of that. He thought he was hilarious, and he really thought he was being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was the jock, you know. He ended up being the quarterback in the football team, and the third one though was just kind of a real follower, and he made us crack at me, and I grabbed him and like in the hallway and started wailing on him.
Mm-hmm.
And we had three epic fights, and the whole town knew about it.
Yeah.
And I was broken. Like I was like I would go to school from that time. My eyes were black and blue, my whole face was swollen, and like it just, I remember thinking, I'm just reflecting on the outside what I felt inside. I felt so broken, and I begged my parents to put me in martial arts. I
So that you can defend
begged
yourself?
them in tears, like, for the love of God, please. Yeah, so they did.
So they send you
So-
to the martial arts because you beg them, and the reason why you beg them is so that you can defend yourself, so that you can fight better?
I never even really thought of it as I just knew if I could.
Defend yourself better?
I kind of instinctively knew. I haven't really thought about this. This is such an interesting conversation. First of all, I've never talked about it like this before, but I've also never sort of framed it, put myself in the mindset. So I remember feeling like I just want people to leave me alone. I don't necessarily want to. Actually, that might not be true.
Yeah.
There was some revenge motive.
Of course.
Probably.
Of course.
And
Vengeance.
it wasn't necessarily that. My prevailing thought and feeling was I just want to be left alone. I want them to respect me.
And you
I
think...
want them to respect me, so they just leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted.
And
I
that
wanted
when they
respect.
learn that you are training martial arts, it's gonna be a deterrent for them to stop picking on you. Like, hey, Kevin
Yeah,
Kevin knows how to fight now. He might beat us.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember one time, for example, also in grade 10, and I might have started in martial arts at this point, but I was still that guy. I was, kind of awkward and shy and kind of a pushover, I felt like. So I'm getting kind of like knocked around and I'm kind of laughing about it. And I get pushed into this one guy who's just, and he like shoves me violently and aggressively, like he just to prove something, just to show off of my effing toe, he says, right? I'm like, I guess I'm a pushover for everybody. That's kind of how I felt anyway, right? So that's how I felt. And the following year, I was only a year in grade 11, physical education, we had to teach something. Everyone in the class had to teach for a day, for 40 minutes or whatever, right? I taught karate. It was karate, kickboxing. I taught, and at the end, I put on a demonstration.
Yeah. And who
My
did you pick?
instructor was good. I was taught well. I've seen a lot of sloppy martial art. I was taught well. I was very lucky where I started.
Yeah.
I put on a demonstration, and literally when I left that class, they were whispering like, "Holy shit! Did you see that?"
Yeah.
They were just shocked because I poured myself into the training. So anyway, it was a journey, and it was a way for me to transform myself, and it was a lesson. I learned a lot of lessons about work ethic and hard work, and how physical training, like there is just nothing that can replace it.
Yeah. 100%.
Like,
I mean, the data is out, right? Like physical exercise is the best antidote for, depression, for example. If they will
for
just
everything.
if they will
For
just move their
everything.
body and exercise, and
Yeah.
it will cure a lot. So from that point, then you decided. So it was karate. It was not taekwondo.
No, it was karate in those days. That's what was available. And I had a buddy in high school who was in this karate class. It was a kind of a it was based on Kempo karate, but it was also kickboxing. This is in the early 80s.
Okay.
I'm an old guy, man. Like, this is in 1983. I was in grade 10 when I started. And so it was the golden age of karate, full contact karate, kickboxing. So my instructor was teaching us karate moves where we did the traditional punching and blocking and stuff,
Yeah.
but we also did on Friday night, Saturday night, we put on the gloves and we sparred full contact in
Oh,
the
really?
basement. So that's what I was doing instead of going to parties.
Yeah.
I was doing that through high school. So
Looking back, do you feel like you missed out because you were not going out during your like teens, puberty, prime, kind of, because you're focused on martial arts, or it's a good trade-off?
yeah. Well, there were times. There were times where, despite, and this is a theme too in my life, which is the dysfunctional part, right? Is where I would feel like it's never enough, right? I achieved. I started to achieve some success, some skill. I gained some skill in martial arts.
Oh, 100%.
Like I was now, people didn't mess with me anymore, right? Once I got
You accomplish
a
your
year or two
initial
into martial arts. So,
initial
but
plan.
at the same time, I still felt socially awkward, right? And so parties were, I kind of wish that I would fit in. I didn't really have a girlfriend until I was, I sort of did, but not a real one until I was in university later. So there's a part of me that did, but I would never. I don't regret anything. I would never change anything. It was a great way to spend your spare time.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then when did you transition to taekwondo?
So when I graduated high school, started University of Alberta, and I actually took a year off martial arts. Going to university, living in residence, it was like drinking from a fire. It was a whole new life. The partying and stuff, and and school was overwhelming. It was a lot. It was like a whole different world from high school, right? Where you're in high school, you're still kind of spoon fed, you know?
Chill.
Yeah. So it was a whole nother world, and the academic part of it was overwhelming, and the stress relief was drinking. We had some crazy times.
What did you take
But-
in college, in university?
Physical education. Yeah. So I was a phys ed major, and which, by the way, is not the same as education. It doesn't make you a phys ed teacher. You have to get an education degree, which I did not do. I wanted to avoid school at all costs. It was not a fun place for me. I wasn't going to go back there. So I never wanted to be a phys ed teacher. So it was a little,
What was the intention then for the program?
you know, I kind of avoided that the whole time. And then I graduated and I was like, here I am, a black belt now. I guess I'm teaching Taekwondo, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just to finish that part of the story, I started university. A year later is when I'm like, I am not screwing around another year. I am going back to martial arts. One of the guys that was on the same floor as me, we became really good friends. We became roommates. He was in Taekwondo. In fact, he was part of a system. He was from a satellite club up north, the same club, the same grandmaster as the University of Alberta program was run by. So we went there, we saw a demo, I'm like, holy crap. These guys don't punch the face, that's kind of lame, but they're full contact and they don't have kickboxing, so I'm going to do this. So, and I did, and let's just say the value was there, the value gap. In those days, it was very, very intense training, and it was a real fight, even though, you know, they have rules that are different and many people would argue, but kicking techniques were developed because of the fact that there's no punching to the face, because that creates a dynamic in the ring in competition that it just limits kicking just by default. As soon as you come within a certain range, you're going to start punching. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and you can definitely mix the two, but there's techniques that evolve because of fighting at a longer range. Anyway, I could go down that rabbit hole, but Taekwondo used to be a martial art worth doing. Used to be.
Used to be.
Yeah, it's not anymore. It's not anymore.
Why is that?
Yeah, this is why I don't want to go down the route. I don't want to be political, but they over time they evolved to the point where they changed the rules to make it more
Commercial?
palatable. Well, you could almost say commercial. They wanted to make it fan friendly for people who weren't insiders, for the general public. You know, so they wanted to make it fast and exciting, and they started to do things like, you know, reward people for a headshot, 4 points all of a sudden. But then it became people getting knocked out at the Olympic Games was like so horrifying that they
It's not
dropped the
allowed?
level of contact, and then they developed these sensors in the headgear and the chest protector, so you would just touch and you get a point.
Yeah.
You touch the face, you get like 3 points. You cause a knockdown, you get 4. But I don't even know what the rules are anymore. What it did is it caused
The level of competition?
a de-escalation in the athleticism of like the footwork and the actual timing and the effectiveness of powerful techniques, and you know, the ability to impose your will and actually like defeat someone, like knock them out. It became a point scoring, like a foot fencing game, and it's just not it's not the same thing anymore. It's not even remotely. It used to be transferable to self-defense or real fighting.
Yeah.
It's just not anymore. It's you see people flipping their foot in awkward ways at the Olympic level. You see people that are not athletic at all that have a huge advantage because they're 6'3" and 145 pounds or something, and all they do is with the long leg they just flip their foot out there and like, like
Yeah.
get it in your face, and they win that way,
Get
right?
points.
And they literally win the Olympics like that. With it's not a martial spirit. It's again they toned
But I mean,
it, they
that's
toned
the
it
whole
down
idea.
because they didn't want people getting knocked out.
It doesn't make any sense
They didn't
because
want
that's
people
the whole
getting laid
idea
out at
of
the
martial
Olympics.
arts, right? To train people so that they can defend
Yeah.
themselves. And then now, just because you have a lot of athletes, maybe we can do a tournament. But initially, the whole purpose of learning martial arts is so that you can actually defend yourself and use it outside.
Yeah, to some degree. And every martial art has its benefits and its drawbacks. And of course, there's a lot of people like Muay Thai guys and things like that, or MMA guys who have disdain for karate and Taekwondo and stuff like that. And I think, every martial art, when you put it in competition, you have to create rules for some modicum of safety, right?
Yeah, no poking of the eye.
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
you're creating rules that limit what you could do in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is mixed martial arts the most transferable? Probably. They all have their limitations. Some have more. I don't dispute the fact that Taekwondo, and especially traditional Taekwondo or karate, in a lot of ways, unless, again, this is a big if. If you become elite, and I mean like including physical toughness and sheer will and develop powerful techniques, and you're a realist, you could be very, very scary individual with almost any of those martial arts, right? So anyway, for the reasons that I told you earlier about Taekwondo, I lost my passion for it some time ago. So
Did you lose your passion once you noticed what's happening, or you lost your passion before that?
There's two reasons. So I went on to, so I graduated I finished my undergrad, and there I was with a phys ed degree at a time when the economy in Alberta and Canada sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And so the job market was terrible. I went to Korea that summer for 2 months, and it was absolutely like fell in love with the culture. Like I was like, I just want to go there and train. But once you're there, you're in Asia, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're living in a different culture, and
Yep.
it's like
Different language.
it was the food, the people. Like there's just so many. I fell in love with it, and 2 years later, I moved there. I actually was back at the University of Alberta teaching, and I met the girl that became my wife later, and she was a beginner and I was an instructor. Anyways, it sounds like a grooming situation. It wasn't. It wasn't. We hung out a lot in class and in groups before we, crossed over into.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got engaged, and then she bought into my dream. We went there together.
Was she
I
a martial
dreamt-
artist as well?
Yeah. She was a green belt in Taekwondo by that time. So we went to Korea and ended up staying there 3 years, and came back married, and we ended up living in Winnipeg. But just to finish it off, so I had trained hardcore, competing at every tournament I could for 7 years. Got to second-degree black belt, and then I went to Korea. And that's when the real training started, man. It was like, I was then training at a level like up here compared to the training that I had in Canada. It was kind of old school, and it was somewhat limited by the people that I was surrounded with, right? I was at the university where people leave after 4 years, right? So you don't get a lot of elite people.
Mm-hmm.
You get people that are black belts and pretty tough and pretty skilled, but to get to the real top, like international caliber, it wasn't available in my club. So I went there to Korea. I trained at a world famous high school, and where they had a team that had produced 12 world champions who were high school student world champions.
Really?
Like, so imagine you're in high school and you become national champion in Korea and go on to become world champion. That's the caliber of guys I was training with there.
In high
right?
school.
So in this high school, Dongseung High School, yeah. So I did that, and eventually it just became too much. I got a full-time teaching job, kind of eliminated the training hours that were available. So then my training in Taekwondo scaled back. My enjoyment of life went up. I started going to the gym again, which I had kind of stopped in favor of just kicking all the time, going to training, and that's something I've never stopped since. So yeah, that was kind of the next phase of my life.
Wow. How do people like yourself with your caliber train compared to someone who's just starting, like those who are not black belts yet? Because you were mentioning that there's not, it's like what you're saying is like iron sharpens iron, basically, and there's not a lot of iron in Canada.
Yeah.
That's why, you struggle. And then when you move to Korea, there's just an abundance of iron that will sharpen you.
Well, I mean, in my case, I was very, very fortunate. Being in Edmonton, it just so happened that before I went to Korea, I was training with another club. Politically, it was sensitive. I technically
you're not supposed to train
go
to a
into
different
another club,
club.
but this club had like 5 national champions.
Can't
They
blame me.
were unbelievable, and some of them I became dear friends with. I'm still really good friends with nowadays, and one of them in particular, the guy, I think I mentioned before we were filming, my roommate.
Oh, yeah.
Steve. We became roommates at one point, and he was national champion twice.
Wow.
I think silver medalist at the Pan Am Games. He was a top competitor. So he was a guy that not only had trained on the level I did in Korea, but he actually competed and won. He, in the modern competition system, so to speak. So we would train, and we kind of sort of speak the same language when it comes to, like, it's boom, boom, boom. The warm up is very, very, very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference in, again, I'm not talking about Taekwondo nowadays because I don't really know. I don't really associate with it, and the training methods are different. But in the beginning of Taekwondo, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe even the 80s, especially in Canada or the US or whatever, there's a lot of schools where it was the hard style, We sparred a lot, but it was like very stationary and hard kicking and beating the crap
Why are
out
they
of each
doing
other.
this if you're not allowed to punch?
You're allowed to punch only to the body, though.
Oh.
So, but that again is a crossover from karate, Taekwondo training to try and cross over to competition where you're sparring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was a non-stop, continuous flow, full contact fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't really have a progression. They just, you do all this other stuff, including forms, and then boom, you spar.
Yeah.
The way that we did in Korea was like an athlete. Like everything you did was designed to shape your body so you would flow, and you would develop. They call it shimdero, meaning no tension. Like you develop a way of flowing
Like flow.
more in your technique.
More natural.
Instead of going like, ha, bang, 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 like this, you would have boom, boom, like you just kind of
More natural.
You'd be
free flowing.
Yeah, it's more free flowing, and you do a lot of partner work. So everything is kind of flowing and interacting. So you're literally, even during the warm up with a partner, you're literally training timing and distancing in some fashion constantly, and then you would move on to, you do your basic kicks that way, then you would do kicking targets where you're developing speed and snap and ability to do combinations. And then you would put on the chest protector and you would do attack, counter-attack drills for timing, speed, reflexes,
Mm-hmm.
distancing, Then you spar. You put it all together. And so
How
it's
many
a
hours are we
step by
talking
step
about?
by step. Honestly, the best once you get a certain capability in your body, you're not. It's not you're spending not quantity. You're spending quality time.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, the gym that I trained at, the other club with the national team guys, when we started provincial team training, it was an hour at a time. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very efficient though. We progressed very quickly to doing drills and then sparring. And sometimes the sparring was everyone sitting there watching two people to get the idea of the pressure of competition.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone watching you, everyone scrutinizing you,
Mm-hmm.
everyone scoring,
Mm-hmm.
and first point or whatever. You have 2-minute rounds or whatever, and see who wins.
Yeah.
See who can score the most points in that 4 minutes or whatever, right?
It's like what UFC
Very,
has.
very efficient.
It's like what UFC has before you go to the UFC. Actual UFC, they have like camps, and then your camp, and then everyone's just watching you, and then
Yeah.
basically critiquing what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, yeah, they get to see. They get to
It's
see
like an
what you got,
academy
right?
or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a training camp,
Mm-hmm.
is what it was like. So, in that sense, now, that being said, a lot of the time I've been in 2-hour classes. A lot of my training, a lot of my teaching, especially at the university, it's 2 hours, and it's pretty. By the time
Can be
we're done,
exhausting.
people are soaked in sweat. So yeah. There's just no shortcut. Like when it comes to shaping your body and learning, like you're using literally your whole body,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's kind of the difference too, is the traditional style is you're using your body in a different way. You would learn to create this dynamic tension with the snap, and you kick with a kind of a snap and a real focus, almost like that board breaking intensity, right?
Force.
Whereas the modern, when I say modern, I'm talking about the style that evolved in the
What they're
early
doing
80s,
now,
right?
basically.
It was very much athleticism. You had to be, once you got a level you got a high level baseline of the
Competence.
abilities to do certain counterattacks and things like that, and you really knew what to look for, and you become seasoned, you really could fight at a high level with a lot of speed and whatever. And that wasn't the point, though. The point is that you're setting up your opponent. You're always strategizing in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
using tactics.
You're
to try-
baiting
you're
your opponent.
Yeah, you're doing a high level thing, and there's a lot of athleticism. There's a lot of thinking, right? So
And quick thinking as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because what you do, and then your opponent will react, and depending on
Yeah.
his reaction, then that's how you're gonna respond.
for sure, yeah. So
So in order to train for 2 hours, what's your diet like back then? Or was it because you're young so that you can eat just eat pizza and burger? It doesn't matter.
to some extent, you got to consume calories. But so for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody else. Okay, I'm just not going
Yeah.
to do that because throughout my life in every realm, including in martial arts, I've seen. I mean, I was a student in physical education, and I remember sitting in this lecture theater with all my classmates in the same class, like 80 or in first year maybe 120 people, and I was like looking around, going, I can't believe how many people drink Coke.
Yeah,
And we're phys ed students, right? A lot of varsity athletes in there. Sitting
find
in
it
that
weird?
room, right? And I just thought, that's strange. Because, anyway, for me, I shouldn't say always, until recently, I was able to eat whatever I wanted. I could eat pie and cake and ice cream and drink beer every night and whatever. And again, but it's because, one, I worked.
You're burning
I
it.
trained like a demon. Like I trained very, very intensely. You could say at some point I reached like an almost elite level in martial art training.
You are.
But I'm not bragging. I'm talking about calorie burn, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, my parents kind of effectively brainwashed me when I was a kid. They didn't even mean to necessarily, but they would say, if you eat your meat or your veggies, you'll grow up big and strong. And I felt so weak and so like inferior, small, like
So I need to eat more.
insignificant. And so I would buy that. I bought into that. So, and I still to this day, man, if
I mean, which is true. You need to eat a lot in order for you to be big.
but it's not just a lot. But what I'm saying though is I would eat quality food.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
still do. I do not have to think about it. I do not have to force myself. And I see that in people around me all the time. In all walks of life, I see people who gravitate towards junk. If they have a choice, you go to a barbecue. I go to a barbecue for Taekwondo people. And a lot of them are eating the marshmallow freaking whipped cream salad, you know? That's what's on their plate. Or they're eating potato chips or cheesies or junk or whatever, and then they'll have like they'll have a hamburger or whatever. But and I remember thinking that just last year at a summer barbecue. I look at my plate, I'm like, that's the evidence is there, right? My plate has raw veggies, and
That's how you gain your advantage.
you know, some barbecued chicken. It's basically paleo, and I don't. It's not that I try. It's just the natural thing, right? So. Now, this is the important part. You wanted to talk about lifestyle, and this is the thing that really kind of jazzes me up because, you know, martial arts is a specific topic for people that are interested in it, and I'm very passionate about it still. But
I think, would you say that there are more interest to martial arts today than before? Because of social media, they see reels, they see like UFC and all that stuff. It's more accessible nowadays versus, you know, back in the day when there was no smartphone, no social media, of course.
so here's the thing. Like, there's a couple things about it. One, that I've been in martial arts a long time, since 1983. I've witnessed the transition that's happened around the world. And in those days, Bruce Lee was an enigma still. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have YouTube. That's for sure. We didn't have, like, you had to go and rent. I'm trying to think. When I was a kid, could
VHS?
you even
Was
rent
it
movies?
VHS back
I was
then?
in high school, and you could rent Beta or VHS videotapes.
Betamax.
Yeah, and you could rent them. And before that, I'm like, you had to watch it on TV. And I lived on a farm. We had 3 channels, and one of them was French. So, or three English channels and 1 French. You had to be lucky enough to see martial arts on a late night on a Saturday on a movie. So, anyway, the exposure was very limited, right? So, I remember kids at school who had cable. They were watching The Green Lantern with Bruce Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how old I am. They were watching Bruce Lee, The Green Lantern, and trying to think of what. Anyway, there were other things he did, or David Carradine, Kung Fu. They got to watch these. I never, to this day, got to watch any of that. I should probably watch it on YouTube. But anyway,
Yeah.
the exposure was very limited. So, and over time, you know, especially once we could rent movies, and then they started making martial art movies, and they became cult movies, and people would follow them, and people became big fans, right? I would say that as the information age came and exposure to martial arts, it became something that was less respected. You know, it was it became much more part of our culture as well. So people were exposed to it all the time, and they're like, yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Diluted.
People used to think being a black belt was like
An esoteric thing.
It was, yeah.
It's something special.
Yeah, it was something really. It was really a big deal.
But now you go on Instagram, you follow like Taekwondo, for example, and you see all the black belts there.
Yeah.
Now the mystic is gone because
Yeah.
you see them, they're ubiquitous now.
Ubiquitous,
Versus back in the day.
Exactly. So it, it's not, there's nothing mystical about it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I will say though that generally speaking, getting your black belt 30 years ago was
Harder.
it 30, 40 years ago, if you, yeah, it was very difficult. Like kids didn't get them. You know, you had to be 16 or 18 minimum, right? I mean, there were exceptions for people that were like insanely
Really good.
talented, skilled, and trained like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, 6 days a week,
Every waking
4
hour.
hours a day, yeah, kind of thing, right? Famous, some of the legends or whatever maybe got, but for the most part, yeah, it wasn't available for kids, you know. So, yeah, it was really something, and as martial arts has proliferated, you got to remember that the people, the master instructors, or just instructors who brought martial arts from Japan, Korea, China, and maybe even Thailand or whatever, Muay Thai. Like these were to bring it over from Asia to come here as a pioneer. You had to be a badass. Like you were, like
Yep.
you would not be. I'm sure there were exceptions, but for the most part, you were getting some serious quality instruction. And as time went on, and you know, sometimes you got people here. For example, in Alberta, we had when I started in the 80s, we had people who were, you know, maybe you got a blue belt or something, but you lived in a town 5 hours north, so you loved it though, and you would start a club, and then so things, and I mean, basically things would get watered down, and the teaching became more and more a copy of a copy of a copy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, and overall, I would say the quality has gone down, you know, and it's just sort of a natural progression, became more widespread. So
How would you describe your daily routine back in the day when you were still in the midst of, on your journey towards your, 7-degree black belt in Taekwondo? While you're in the midst of it.
yeah, there was a
How
time
would,
where, so I would say I actually kind of did the rough math in my head, and you know, have you ever heard of the 10,000 hour rule?
yeah, the outlier, Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, so I honestly did the 10,000 hours, and they were hard hours. They weren't like just fogging a mirror, you know. I didn't just put in my time. Like I put my whole heart and soul and physical, like blood, sweat, and tears into those 10,000 hours. So there were periods of time where I would get up before classes when I was a student. I would run 4 miles, then I would go to class
What time are we talking about?
like 5:30 in the morning, and I would be like I would be like bonking in class because my blood sugar was crashing. But I would do that, and then, you know, literally 5 days a week go to a 2-hour class, and like you would be sweating buckets, like sparring for half an hour a day, like that was the kind of thing. And so yeah, and I would do, and I would even at times I would meet like training partners outside of class and do more training, you know, so stuff
Why
like
were
that.
you doing that?
I was just so but once I started competing, I was just so hungry to win, to get better, like to show up at that tournament and kick everyone's ass.
That
Like,
if you start something, you need to win or you need to finish that. You need to see it through or something like that. Like if you join a competition, I need to win this competition. I'm not gonna join this just to be in the competition. I have you have the intention to win, like all the way.
yeah, you know, I definitely had a fierce competitive streak. Like it was, I'm not going to say it was always the healthiest. Like,
Like obsession.
yeah, like, how do I explain it? It's been a while since I've dabbled in this topic, but so there's a way of approaching it, and sometimes the top athletes are not the most well-adjusted humans, right? They're like, you
Of
know, they
course.
might be
They live in a bubble.
a little imbalanced, meaning they. I'm drawing a blank. There's a term in sports psychology. A guy, and by the way, I did a master's degree in sports psychology, and I can't remember this concept. It's going to come to me.
How
at
would
some
you describe
point.
it?
But basically, it's when I think it's task versus outcome orientation. Task, but it's a way. It's when you're task centered, you are the type of person who focuses on the process. So you just love doing, and you have to be very high in task orientation to succeed in martial arts. Because
Versus
you're
the
standing
other.
there doing every single day of your life. You're doing front kick over and over and over, doing roundhouse kick over and over. You're doing side kick. You're doing back kick. You do your basics, and you have to do it. Like you can't not do it. You know, you can't just jump into doing a bunch of spinning wheel kicks or whatever. Right? So you have to be high, but the other side of it is when you're
Result
is
oriented,
you're.
goal,
I can't remember the term, but it's when
outcome oriented.
it's when you're very centered on basically how people view you. You put a lot of your energy and your effort and your progression, your motivation is in being seen as the best. Like you have to be. It's like that extrinsic motivation that you want to be.
Perceived.
It's how you're perceived by others, basically. And believe it or not, to be a top level athlete, you have to be high in both.
Yeah.
You have to score high in both.
Yeah.
So
I think that's what people don't understand, especially those people who are not athletes or who never pursued like, martial arts or any discipline, is that what allowed them to achieve such things is what people are complaining about with those people, like obsession, for example. They need to be obsessed, or you need to be a narcissist because you need self-confidence. Because narcissism is a different term for self-confidence. You need to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, you won't be able to accomplish it. You won't even try. But there's a certain level of self-confidence and self-belief, and that, if used improperly, can be perceived as narcissism by other people.
yeah. So Tony Robbins has a distinction: the 6 human needs. Have you ever heard this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
certainty, uncertainty, significance, love, growth, contribution.
Yeah. So significance, the need for significance has driven me a lot in my life.
Yeah.
And it tends to be, it's very unfulfilling. It's unfulfilling.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you
so
think
he
among
call-
the 6 basic human needs is the most fulfilling?
You need to study this more, Dre. So Tony,
I have the book.
So yeah. So
Somewhere.
he had like basically, if your primary needs are certainty, uncertainty, significance, or even love and connection, if those are your main drivers, because we all have usually a primary and a secondary one, and if those are the 2, or any of those 4, or both of them are those 4, you might be successful in life,
But it's not
but you're
fulfilling.
not going to be fulfilled. You're going to always feel empty, and that's part of that's kind of that's maybe the drawback to some of my personality traits. But I don't regret or necessarily want to change anything. I'm just kind of evolving, and that's where skydiving comes in. But I'll get to that. But basically, it's. So you mentioned, I'm drawing a blank, growth and contribution, right? When you give to others, that's when you get fulfillment. When you have growth as your primary thing, that's when you...
But when you say growth, what do you actually mean? Like progress, like let's say when you were growing from white belt to 7 degrees, is that the growth that we're talking about? Or growth, like for other people who's not in martial arts, how can they pursue
I think
growth?
of it more, so there's growth in a certain a certain skill, right, in a certain realm, like in martial arts, growing, becoming better, more skilled at it. But that's not really the growth he's talking about. He's talking about
As a person.
personal growth, growing as a human being, becoming
More conscious.
a more conscious person, somebody who is more forgiving, more loving, kinder, finds a way to be a bigger, better person. Get over pettiness, bitterness, anger, frustration, that kind of growth. Because that is the hardest thing you'll ever do, in my opinion. It's honestly the hardest thing you'll ever do, because you could bury yourself in achievement. Like, the growth you're talking about in martial art, that's achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And there, especially back in the day when martial arts was more mystical, right? People would ascribe these spiritual qualities to it, that you're training, you're meditating, you're becoming enlightened, and all this. It's kind of horseshit, to be honest. I mean, and I say that like with a lot of perspective, because I've been exposed to some people who embody qualities of Buddhism or Taoism.
Do they claim or they embody?
No, they embody it. They truly do. But it was a conscious choice. It wasn't because of martial arts. It didn't magically happen because they did martial arts. Not at all. So, like, I got this tattoo, like, God, it was, I think, 2006 or 7 or something.
What does it mean?
It says Bushido. It says it's the way of the warrior. It's like the samurai code of honor, and it's to remind me, which, by the way, has horrible connotations, because the samurai were, warlike society, a warlike culture that ruled Japan, and they conquered other nations like Korea and parts of China, and they ruled with an iron fist and didn't have a lot of respect for human life. But and so when I have this tattooed on my chest now, and I know that when Chinese people see it, they probably go like, you don't really understand. But for me, it has a different meaning. It's like The Last Samurai. It's like Katsumoto, that character.
I love that movie.
This sort of supreme ideal of benevolence and
sacrifice.
Yeah, and sacrifice and honor, like the ultimate sense of honor and integrity and all these things. It's sort of an ideal that I ascribe to, and it's a good reminder, but that's, so yeah, I at the same time, during this journey, I started consuming personal development. And I say consuming because it lit me on fire, but I could say that it was a long journey, a very slow journey of actually starting to embody some of the lessons. I started in the late 90s, and I would say that I still have a lot of work to do in some of these areas. But that's why I understand now that there's a difference between achievement and actual growth. Personal growth, true personal growth, it's a high ideal to ascribe to, and I don't see a lot of people that actually get what it is.
It's almost like pursuing enlightenment.
Well, here's an example, okay? So for me, I've struggled with this, carrying this weight on my shoulders, like I need to fix something in myself, right? And so that's the diving into something like martial arts and sticking with it for 40 years, it becomes a routine. It becomes another thing for me to try and to work on and it's got fantastic side effects. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it and what it's become. But at some point you can also realize, hey, I'm on this path, but am I actually becoming a better person because of it? Am I actually becoming more confident? Do I have a true sense of fulfillment inside, so that I feel like more of a whole person, more well-rounded person, more mentally tough, more dependable, more reliable, somebody that could be counted on, somebody that could lead others.
Be a man,
in
basically.
crisis, yeah. So am I developing and embodying those qualities? And that's the true measure. It's not success in any one area. It's, are you growing as a person? So that's what I mean. Like,
So you ask that question to yourself?
yeah.
What's the answer?
The answer is yeah. But it's only recently, because for many years
The answer was no?
I was becoming extremely high level in that area, but not becoming really more confident as a person, not becoming somebody, like, I still had a lot of insecurity, right?
Even
Still-
before, like, let's say
still
you're
carry that.
third degree black belt, you
Oh,
still
yeah.
have insecurities.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because your ego will fight to survive. It
Yeah.
will fight under the surface, no matter what you do. If you aren't aware
Mhm.
that you're still playing
The old narrative.
You're still playing the old narrative. You're still carrying the same
You're still the kid that's being
same
bullied.
character. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Even
So,
if you can beat anyone you meet
yeah,
on the
so,
street.
yeah, it can still, and that's the true honesty. That's authenticity, right? And that's another realm of becoming a better person. So, like, that's why I literally, like, there's very few people I would say I idolize, but GSP is one of them.
Oh, really?
The reason, because
He's very humble.
he has humility, he has the authenticity and the vulnerability to say, I don't like fighting. Like, I'm scared. Like, every time I went in the ring, I was scared. I did not want to be there. I did not like it. But there was enough, he had a drive in him at the same time that carried him through that. And it's just, the qualities that he embodies are just something that I admire. So that's again, getting back to growth. And the other one is contribution, right?
Love, growth, contribution, yeah.
So one of the reasons I want to do this with you is because I believe, this is what I believe, okay? I'm looking right into the camera here, that just by doing this, we are exchanging ideas. We're putting energy
Out there.
We're putting things out in the world that make the world a better place, instead of bitching about the shitty government, or bitching about Donald Trump, or bitching about the world, or all the negative things. Or just living our life small. We are trying to bring out the best in ourselves and share it with the world. So that's what contribution is. And for me, like, so yeah, that is where skydiving came in for me, because. So,
When did you start skydiving?
Actually, just to go back to martial arts, I never liked being the center of attention. I'm not that type of person. But teaching was my way to contribute. Even when I didn't want to be there, I felt like I just want to be, I just want to go home. I just want to be by myself. I found a way to put on my uniform and go into that class and show up for people and lead, and with passion and inspiration and the fire, right? And just, and like, give them value, teach them, lead them, push them to become better, right? So that has always been a part of me too. And it's weird, man, because it's only through that intrinsic passion, following my desire to get better and better and be, and then suddenly I'm like, well, I don't really want to teach, but there's literally no one else to do it. I'm like, I just understood at some point, like, I, not to blow my own horn, but I was like, I am
There's no
by
one to
far
compete with.
the most skilled person who
Yeah.
has the drive to continue to show up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna learn how to teach. I'm gonna I'm gonna show up for people,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna lead, and I'm just gonna find a way
Mm-hmm.
to do it, and find a way in myself to
To overcome your,
to overcome my social anxiety or my
Mhm.
desire to just be in the back of the room. Right?
the
And I'm gonna
spotlight,
show up.
the spotlight effect, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be in the front of the room, and I'm going to like these people are going to. I am going to make them into martial artists, right?
Mhm.
So, but yeah, skydiving had become that for me a long time ago too, right? So, anyway.
When you were saying, when I asked you, like when you were a third degree black belt, you still have these insecurities that it's it's like the imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I had
Were
a
you
lot.
able to? Would you say that you were able to conquer that imposter syndrome feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm being honest. There's this part of me, but there's another part of me that knew. I was like, when I came back, I had lived. I was married, as I mentioned, and left Korea. Was married. We were together for another 3 or 4 years. We got divorced. I stayed for a few more years. Came back to Edmonton. My instructor was like, I need you to take over. I need you to teach. And I was going to go back to Winnipeg. I had a failing business there and stuff. And I ended up not doing it. It was the best decision I ever made to stay here. So I started teaching in the September of 2000. And I mean, let's be honest. I trained at an elite level in Korea. I was a different guy. Like I knew at that point, there was a part of me that knew that I was
You're probably the best in Canada during that time,
no, nowhere near the best in Canada.
or maybe the best in
Not in
the city.
competition, but I knew I had the ability to teach, and I knew that they were learning things they weren't going to learn elsewhere.
Mhm.
Like I did know that I had learned the Korean system. I had learned things that I was going to pass on that were very, very valuable
Mhm.
to people, right? So, and the ultimate test was when I had former pretty high level competitors. I had a guy from Poland, became very good friends with, who had competed internationally. I had a guy from France. I remember I had a guy from Guatemala that were black belts. They were
Training under you?
seasoned black belts. They came to the University of Alberta. They joined the club, and they were and they saw the value more than my color belts did,
Mhm.
because they were like, holy shit, this is real training. This is good training. This is
Mhm.
competition training, right?
Quality training.
And the other guys didn't have anything to compare it to, so they didn't really know. They
Yeah.
didn't know what they were getting, and in some cases they weren't ready to get. They weren't physically ready to really take on the skills that I had the ability to teach. So there was a part of me that knew that, yeah, I was at a much higher level than most instructors, right? So don't get me wrong. There's that part of me that has that kind of underlying sort of quiet confidence, that knowing I don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Mhm.
And so that's another one of the rewards when you get to that point.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling that you're at peace. You don't have to prove anything anymore.
Yeah, because you're confident with your competence, with your
Yeah.
abilities. Right?
Like I say, the 10,000 hour rule, I really think it is real. In martial arts, it's real, because it takes a lot of years, a lot of hard training to truly transform your body.
That 10,000 hour rule is 10,000 hours of deliberate practice,
Yeah.
conscious deliberate practice.
Yeah.
Because if someone is training taekwondo, for example, spend 10,000 hours but slacking, just just showing up in the gym,
Yeah.
just doing whatever.
Yeah.
It will be a different effect.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's what you get in martial arts a lot, unfortunately, nowadays. Um, I know from personal experience, a lot of people hang around and they get promoted. Actually, early on, maybe when their first degree, they're already teaching, and that's what they do most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really, and they might have started at a later age, they might have been awkward, overweight, they never gained a lot of athletic ability or anything, and so they're teaching, and they, that's what they do. They teach, they referee, they coach, but they don't really understand, and they never really got the hard they never got their self to that, towards the top of their potential, right? So, anyway.
That's a scary place to be in, to be under that. Like if you're a student
Yeah, and
and you're serious.
it's honestly the
Taekwondo.
bulk of people, for sure. It unfortunately is the reality. The bulk of people never were really truly tested. Not long enough. They might have been for a short window of time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're showing up every class and you're trying hard, regardless of your skill, you're gonna be promoted to black belt in
Yeah.
a few years in Taekwondo. That's the way it is. So, and then you're teaching, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you can see what that movie is. It doesn't produce elite people at all. So that's the unfortunate
I
reality.
mean, we can say
Anyway.
the same thing with aviation. You have a private pilot license, right?
Yeah.
We can say the same thing with aviation, from private to commercial, and then you do your instructor rating, and now you're teaching.
Yeah.
Versus how they do it, I believe, in Europe, that some instructors are actually working in the airlines and have more experience, more seasoned
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
what we have here. Not to say that the instructors here are not good, but they're not at their peak in terms of teaching students. And that's why you go on forums, there's a lot of students complaining about their instructors.
Yeah.
They feel like his or her instructor is milking him or her,
Yeah.
for the hours. Because again, these instructors, it's one way to build your hours so that
Yeah.
you can go to the airlines.
Absolutely.
So that's why there's a conflict of interest right there. That's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah. You have to get somewhat lucky. It's like that in martial arts too. You have to get somewhat lucky because people often choose the school that's nearest to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest drive
Yeah.
or walk away, right? It's on the way home. It's near my house, whatever. So they pick that school, and it may not be. They may be terrible at developing instructors, and it might be a guy who's just an hour time builder,
Mhm.
nothing but, and they don't really care.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, and another interesting part of my journey was during the martial arts, during the peak, like when I came back when I first came to Edmonton and started teaching at the same time, like a year later maybe, I got into graduate school, again in physical education, and did a master's degree in sports psychology.
Why?
I was wondering what the hell I was going to do with my life career-wise. So one day, again, I'm teaching at the U of A. I'm teaching at the University of Alberta. And it feels like home. I'm in the physical education building a couple times a week. I'm in the education building, but I'm right there. I'm running the stairs. I'm sitting there in the Butter Dome, and I had this epiphany. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a sports psychologist. I'm going to follow through. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be part of this place that I love so much. That's so much a part of me, And so I applied, and I did all the things, and I got in. And as soon as I got back into the academic world, I realized why
Why did you do that?
I did not want to be in the academic world. I just, yeah. Frankly speaking,
What you didn't like about the academic world?
well, two things. there's several things. One is my supervisor, who was actually working on a public speaking career at the time and being a personal development coach, he was doing those things. He had some sense of what the real world is, right? And he said there's a lot. He actually said this. Okay, he's retired now, so it won't affect his. But he said there's a lot of. I better not say what he said. It was kind of a derogatory comment about how people are insulated in the academic world and they're not. There's intellectual self-preservation. Like, people are studying and working and researching on areas that have little relevance to the real world, right? They don't have any relevance outside of that, the academic world. They're advancing theories and concepts and ideas
That
and
has
even
no
maybe
practical
getting a
use?
master's. Yeah, no practical use, right? They're just so obtuse and theoretical and whatever. So they're working on things that are and there's a lot of self-justification and self-preservation in that world. The second thing, so they're studying things that aren't realistic, and you're expected to jump through all these hoops to sort of survive in that world, and you're just surrounded by it, right? So you're like. Meanwhile, I didn't have a student loan, so I was working 50 hours a week in a bar as a bouncer and later a manager, killing myself, and I'm like, I go to class once or twice a week for 3 hours, and I'm just like, some of this is really, really interesting, and because I was in physical education, I was in a sports psych class, I was in a coaching seminar and I was in social theory. It just the things that you have to do to satisfy the requirements of getting your degree, or it's a lot of jumping through hoops and things like that. And the third reason is
That's master's, right?
Frankly, master's degree, yeah.
Yep.
Universities have become a very woke place. And so, I'm a farm kid from Alberta. I'm quite conservative. And
What year was this?
you're asking me to date myself again. I worked in my master's degree from 2004 to 2008. So it was already becoming very woke, very woke. The Faculty of Physical Education, in fact, even at that time, had some researchers who were, it was becoming very prolific researching queer theory and things about the sport and the, LGBT community and things like that. And it was just becoming very DEI and very woke. And I'm not.
They're pushing inclusiveness even before.
Yeah,
2000,
so they were
2004?
starting to. There's a bit of indoctrination, like in the sense that everyone there is required to be exposed to sort of that as the norm. And you know what, I bought into it. I had.
You did.
I had a professor who was openly gay. She was awesome. I loved her. I learned so much from her in social theory, things that were opened my mind to a whole different ways of thinking. But social theory is quite, it's sort of an overarching esoteric way of looking at the world in terms of how people, how their entire worldview is shaped by their environment in a lot of cases. Feminism, Marxism, postmodernism, and there's all kinds of different versions of things that then become this whole academic world in and of themselves, right? And so I identified from that very early that I'm a phenomenologist, which is I believe you create your reality,
You don't believe that now?
Oh, I do. I do. That's what I'm saying. Even in an academic sense, that's what I came to. I'm a phenomenologist. So, but here's the cool thing about this part of my journey. I was ready to quit, man. I was working 50 hours a week. I was burnt out. I was still very, very involved in teaching, coaching at tournaments, and very passionate about it. I was kind of on fire. I had some very, very dedicated students. I was growing, developing the program. But my passion, I could not say it was in martial art once I started skydiving, because in literally the day before I started my master's, literally the day before, I had done a tandem a month before, and the day before I did the first jump course. I did my first skydive by myself, hanging off the strut, doing that. And there I was the next day starting my master's. And so I was hooked, man. And the following summer I went out, I did 25, got up from 6 jumps, or no, I don't, yeah, in '04 did just the 2, well really 1 because the tandem didn't count. By the end of '05 season, I had 25 skydives. I had my A license, and I was hooked, man. There was no turning back.
What about it that hook you? What about the skydiving? Is it the adrenaline? Is it the playing on the edge, like life and death kind of stuff?
Well, there's no doubt that if you have the inclination to do it, to try it, and you catch the bug, like you see that there are skills you can develop here. And at our drop zone at the time, we had 3 different national teams at Skydive Eden North at that time. 3 of the Canadian national team of whatever, 6 or 8, 7 disciplines that there were at the time. 3 of those disciplines, the national team was there, or maybe silver in one discipline and 4-way, and the free fly artistic and the canopy relative work, the crew, those national teams were at our drop zone. Out of this little so you could see unbelievable level these
Talent.
people were doing. You think that skydiving is just it's just pure adrenaline. It's for adrenaline junkies, and it's a pure thrill. And it is, as soon as you're around a drop zone and you go,
You understand the
holy
sport.
crap, these people are like unbelievably skilled. Like you could just, you'd see the video when they land, or you'd, watch them doing a swoop on a high performance canopy from 1,000 feet, come screaming in for landing, and you're just like, oh my God, like the level of skill is mind-boggling, and things you never even dreamed of that you didn't know. You don't know, you're not exposed to, you just see you see it on TV or movies, and you're like, oh, it's just Patrick Swayze, doing backflips in the air or whatever, right? You don't know until you're around it. And then
The science behind how he was able to do that.
well, you see that there are things you can develop your skill in. You can learn to fly your body, right? And you could learn in all these different disciplines. The more you start doing it every day, you're learning things. And I remember Lyle saying to me back then, who's my number 1 mentor ever in the sport for the most different ways and things, different disciplines. You could dive put your whole heart and soul into this sport for 2,000 skydives and go crazy, do it, training and working hard and all these different things, and you'll still be a brand new beginner in most of it. Like there's things that you'll always have to learn, right? That are just so fun to learn. And then once you learn, if you're like me, you want to get good at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then once you get good, you want to get really good at it. So,
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a pattern. Like when you started Taekwondo, for example, it ignited the same thing when you started skydiving.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to just jump and, open my parachute. I want to compete. I want to be one of the best. You
Yeah,
know,
for
and
for sure. Yeah, you go. This is a whole other world. It's just falling out of or jumping out of a plane. It's
a perfectly fine plane.
it's so much more than that. So yeah, and I remember when I did the first jump course, I landed, and I remember sitting there with debriefing with my jump master, who I didn't know at the time was brand new. He was on probation. He was doing his probationary instructor dispatches to get through to become certified.
Mhm.
And it's no wonder he was like a military drill instructor. He was very tense and stuff. He got me out the door, and I said to him, I'm like, what do I have to do to do what you're doing, like to become jump master? So I just knew, like, I wanted to become an instructor. I wanted to teach. Like, I already knew that would be a thing for me, right? So
Whenever you pursue something, do you consider the social cost of it? How it will cost you in terms of your social life, for example. This means less birthdays that you can go to or something like that if whatever discipline requires. Like for example, when you went to Korea,
yeah,
although you were with your partner back then when you went to Korea, but with pursuing Taekwondo, that you'll be far away from your family here, your friends here, or it doesn't matter. Whatever it
yeah.
takes.
That's that is definitely one of the trade-offs. That's one of the costs. And if I'm being honest, I feel very, very selfish in saying this, but it is the truth that that's not really a consideration in the beginning, you know.
You never
And
consider
then
it. It never crossed your
and
mind.
then at some point you go like, it's actually, it wasn't so much with martial arts because
No.
you're going to class and your social
That's your circle.
your social circle becomes that become your family.
Yeah.
I still call my Taekwondo instructor like a father to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of my seniors are like uncles,
Yeah.
and brothers and sisters and whatever, right? And my students are like my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But that's weeknight. Skydiving is different, though. Skydiving is very consuming, as you know. It's like, I mean, I have this intrinsic drive to contribute. And part of that is like growing up on a farm, you realize like there's a freaking operation here.
Mm.
Like you have to make hay when the sun shines.
Yeah.
You can't say, Dad, I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
It's like my dad never really forced me to get on the tractor and work till dark or whatever. But it instilled in me that. So at the drop zone, I feel this, like I want to help. I really, really, it gives me so much juice, right? Like I want to be counted on. So that's a part of it is
Is significance and contribution at the same time.
yeah. So I want to, I want to contribute to that, to the success. Like I don't need to be recognized. I don't need to be the center of attention anymore.
Mm.
Like, I've been doing tandems for 15 years now. And I don't need the attention.
Does it get old?
I don't need to be seen as some hero or something like that. I'm just like, I just think it is an honor. I feel honored, privileged to take people on that journey. Like the fact that I get to use all of my hard-earned talents, skills, abilities, like things that, and it is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is no joke. People can do things that throw you for a loop, or whether it's taking the people that are at the weight limit, or whatever, or people that that kick and flail, and are out the door. And
Or
there's
bite your bracelet. Remember that girl?
it was a funny one. Yeah, or grab your arm, or they do things that are unexpected or whatever, or puke on you or whatever, right? It's like, I am just the Sherpa. Like, I am there to carry, I am there, they are the star. I want to make them the star, and I want them to remember that day, like that experience. Like, they had a top-notch quality, but like safe experience. Like, like, even the people that make your job hard, you're like, you did awesome, man. And they're never going to know the difference, because they deserve to have that experience. They're paying a lot of money. They're paying good money for it. Like, it's about what, $395 $395 for the tandem, plus $140 for the video plus GST, right? So do the math. It's $550 or whatever. They're paying a lot. They put themselves out there. They've waited years or decades to do it, and they're scared shitless. Like, they're nervous to some degree. Most people are happy, super excited, but they are nervous.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sometimes you see on the video in the door, they're like, they are petrified, right?
Do you still get nervous?
Tandems, no, I don't get nervous anymore. But I am so committed to being a professional that every single gear check, I am present. Like, when I look at that rig, every single thing I am aware.
Diligent, yeah.
And I am not blank and just glossing it over with my eyes glazed over or rushing. I am checking every single thing every single time. When I do my gears, my 17-point check in the plane, when I do my 4 in the door, like, I am committed to being a professional, because the day I slip up is the day something will happen that I don't expect. And then I'm like, oh, Jesus, I missed something or whatever, right? It's never going to happen. But, so, anyway. Yeah, so, but we're talking about personal development here. So, skydiving is really a journey. And that to me is the most important thing, is that for me it's contribution and growth. I hope I continue to grow in my confidence and my skills and my capability. I lift other people up, other people at the drop zone feel better. I do a jump with somebody who's a novice or beginner, or maybe trying to work on that. They're trying to work on their beginner, their A license or their B or whatever, and they have a great experience. They I push their skills up, or I check some boxes off their list for them that they can achieve that level and be confident, and
Encourage them that it's possible for them.
yeah, that they're gonna get there, right? So, yeah.
This mentality, your professionalism, where do you attribute that to?
Honestly, it's
Is it nature, nurture kind of stuff? Or is it because once you started, like, something you developed over time when you were doing martial arts?
I've been told, because I'm a Virgo, I've been told that,
All right, let's go to the zodiacs now.
Maybe anal retentive nature. I don't know. That I'm very particular about details. So I get a lot of fulfillment about attention to detail. It gives me
Certainty.
Yeah, it gives me fulfillment. It gives me certainty. And also, hey, the ability to give people a feeling of certainty and safety and containment for anybody who's doing their first jump and they're nervous and they're scared and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
You can't describe it until you do it, right? and to provide that for people is just, it's very satisfying. It's very fulfilling. So, and by the way, when I started, I didn't want to do tandems.
No?
I didn't want to do tandems.
You
I
just
was
want to
like,
jump on your own.
like I would watch the tandem instructors, and I thought that it's like they look to me like the bus driver or the taxi driver of the sky. Like you're just
Transporter
like,
of
what are you
dreams.
doing? You have a drogue. You can't really move around the sky. You actually sort of can inadvertently or on purpose, but not very fast because of the drogue that you're just hanging off the drogue. It looked to me, and you're just like, woo, trying to have fun and pretend you're having fun for the camera. You're doing the same thing over and over. You're just what we call falling down the tube, right?
Yeah.
And woo, and then deployment, and you know, and then you're coming in under this big, huge, docile canopy, and you know, and to some extent, it just seemed like they weren't having fun.
The customers or the tandem
No, I
masters?
would see the tandem instructors, and it looked kind of routine to them, right? It
Of
looked
course.
kind of so. As I started approaching 500 jumps, is what you need to get your
To
tandem
qualify.
rating. That's a minimum, in addition to certain other skill and experience requirements. People started saying to me, you should become a tandem instructor, because in those days we had a caravan.
Mm.
We had a Cessna 208, a caravan, 15-person plane. We were doing a massive amount of tandems, producing so many brand new students. We were doing competition. Wingsuiting was starting to take off. I wanted a wingsuit. I wanted to become like do head down and do free flying and all this stuff. And I didn't really want to do tandems. But as I started getting there, people said, "You're a big, strong guy. You'll be good at tandems. You should do it." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." One day, a guy named Kai, who was a rock star free flyer, like a national team, one of those national team guys I talked about earlier. He was also a tandem instructor. He convinced me. We happened to meet at a bar called Avenue Pizza, across from the University Hospital, and he told me, "Man," I'm like, "I don't know, you're a tandem instructor. What's it like? People are saying I should do it." I'm like, I'm at that point, and he's like, "Man, you need to do it," because he just basically, we talked for like an hour, and he sold me on it. Like, you're going to be in demand. Any busy drop zone needs tandem instructors. You get to jump. You get paid to jump. You get paid really well, and blah 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 blah. And so I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna. And then as soon as I got in the course, I'm like, holy crap! I thought it would be pretty simple. Strap someone on, just leave the plane, and pull at 5,000 feet, and you're whatever, right?
Yeah.
Easy canopy ride. It is not. It is not. It was demanding, challenge every ounce of my ability, and I was a decent 500 jump skydiver. It became very challenging. So right there, it appealed to me. It was a huge challenge.
What's the most challenging part of it? Is it, or like information overload, too much information that you need, new information that you need to learn?
No, I mean, it's physically demanding. Like, it's physically, it's a little bit of work to have this person harnessed to you, right? And you're managing them to some extent. You're flying the canopy with them hanging off you. You're landing safely. You're managing. You're a little bit manhandling them around in the plane and whatever. You're also managing their emotions to a point.
Yeah.
If you're good at the job,
Calm them down.
you gotta connect with them somewhat, right? You
Yeah.
gotta, you don't just park your ass in the plane, ride to altitude, and jump out. Like, you gotta, like,
Build a rapport.
you're 20 minutes or more to altitude, right? You gotta build a bit of a rapport, and it's just simply thinking about them. Like, hey, what do you do for a living? You know, like, what brought you here? Like, what do where do you live? What, you know, blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? You live up there? You know, connect with them. Do you ever hunt or fish? Because I love that, and blah, 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 right? Anyway, you learn ways to give them the absolute minimum information because they are facing a massive information overload. They are way beyond the peak arousal state, like where they can think and perform correctly, let alone optimally.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are way beyond. They're at a level where they can't even process barely what's going on. They're like, and you have to remind them, hold your harness, right?
Yeah.
You see that every time.
Yeah.
You're sitting there watching. So, what can I do for this person? Like this is part of the job. Is what can I do to keep them calm and level-headed? What kind of energy can I give them? What words can I give them? Because if I sit there and talk about it on and on and on, it's just going to totally fuck them up. Like this,
Yeah.
I have to be very concise and choose my words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
And emphasize only one or two key things, and then you get to see am I successful or not. And it to some extent depends on the person. Some people are just they're not gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that a superpower, for me anyway, is sticking to things, just honestly outlasting people, so to speak. And then it's not about being better than others or anything whatsoever. It's just you decide to do something. I heard it put like this once, okay? You make the decision once.
Mm.
And you know, I feel like I made the decision certainly when I was new to go to class. And honestly, we had classes 5 days a week. I never missed. In an entire semester, I might miss one because I was like, it was like I had something a commitment that I couldn't get out of, and I was mad because I missed one day out of a semester, right?
Yeah.
Same thing like with skydiving. You know, I made the decision. And I don't know when I'll make a different decision, but for now, you know, when I'm available. And I do other things. Sometimes I go fishing or hunting or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, but I made the decision I want to contribute, like, be one of the core. I want to be there at the drop zone. I want to make sure that that place is going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do everything I can, treat it like it's my own business almost, right? To a point. I mean, I have no skin in the game. I have no investment in it, but I still want to contribute. And yeah, I mean, 22 years and 15 years of doing tandems. So
Wow. There's a famous quote I thought you were going to say earlier, that he who loves walking will go farther than the person who loves the destination.
I haven't heard it put like that before, but yeah, that's you got to fall in love with the process, right?
That you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to do once you have the same feeling, the same way that you fall out of love, basically, once you fall out of love with skydiving? The same way you fell out of love with Taekwondo.
Well, I mean, I've always had a lifelong love of fishing and hunting. And like, I am very, very passionate about it. At one point, actually, I didn't do it for like 20 years for various reasons. You know, I lived in Korea.
Would you say that that's an accurate statement, that, you know, what make you interested, like, for example, skydiving? Not everyone can do skydiving. Bow hunting and the kind of hunting that you're doing. It
Yeah,
requires a lot of patience and it requires a lot of discipline.
yeah, I think I've naturally, and I'm very, very, very grateful that I have that.
Mentality.
Well, it's just what I'm drawn to, right? It's the physicality, like something that it combines pretty extreme physical and mental challenge in some way.
That requires a lot of mental toughness.
Yeah, it appeals to me a lot. I don't like anything worth doing is challenging, and and whether it's significance or whatever you want to call it, you know, it does give me some juice to do things that most people won't do. Like I like saying that to you. I do like most people wouldn't do this. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Dre, I'm going to be 59 years old in a few weeks, okay? And
Advance happy birthday.
yesterday I ran the stair. Or I don't actually run because I don't do any other cardio, and I don't have the cardio to even jog them anymore. But I walk the stairs, 239 stairs, Fox Drive. Go to the top in 30-degree heat or whatever. Do 30 push-ups. Go down. Do that 10 times. 300 push-ups, 2,400 stairs. It's a workout that most people won't do. There's like 4 cars in the parking lot, you know. There's literally 4 other people, 3 other people, 2 other people on those stairs in a city of 1 million people, you know.
Why did you
I'm
do
like,
that? Is that your maintenance training kind of?
no,
To
no,
maintain your physicality or just to challenge yourself?
you know, I. So you asked me, I asked you what we're going to talk about. You said, how do I push myself when I don't want to train, like when it's hard, so this is sort of touching on it. But one of the things is, there's enough benefits that you know, like when I was young and I started, and again, maybe this is a gift that I would get some kind of positive stimulation or positive reinforcement from physically demanding things, which, by the way, was not when I was really young. I was not in shape and I did not like running. It wasn't until I started karate at 15 that I started to get that feedback, that intrinsic reward from the physical demanding kind of workout, right? What I didn't before that. I was like, I kind of avoided it. But it's a positive feedback loop. So, in answer to your question, like I don't have to force myself, because even when I'm gasping for air and it kind of sucks, it feels good because man, I am sweating and I've created mental framework around it. I'm like, what else would I be doing right now?
Yeah.
What the fuck else would I be doing?
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch,
Yeah.
going out with friends, like
Binge watch.
there's all kinds of ways. I sit at a computer all day, most days. Some days I'm out driving and seeing properties, but I sit at a desk. I could watch TV. There's all kinds of ways. Know the benefits. Like, the benefits are beyond, there's no argument against them, right? So I know that how much positive benefits I'm getting physically, health-wise, fitness-wise, mentally. I'm getting the immediate feedback. I'm getting sweat and physical stimulation from it. And I'm getting the positive satisfaction. I'm doing something hard. I'm doing something. There's just so many things. And so
You don't need to force yourself.
I do not have to force myself.
Yeah.
Like, even when I'm exhausted, there's days when I go, oh, it's grueling to start. It's hard. But I just know when it's over, worst case scenario, I have to say to myself, I remember what it's going to feel like when this is over. I'm going to be so proud of myself.
Feel
that
good about you?
fucking did it when it sucked. It was kind of brutal. It felt hard. That I'm just that reward, you know. So that's just one of the many things. Sometimes there are times when I had to trick myself. I had to go, you know what? It's like, because it's going to really suck, because I'm going to feel like crap if I don't go. I'm going to regret it, you know.
I was
Like,
gonna ask.
so sometimes there are times, but really, honestly, at my age, at this point, I don't have a practice that I'm committed to going to over and over every single day, you know, anymore. I go to the gym. It's on the way home from work. I have my workout partner there. We go to the stairs and do it together now. Like, I have the social connection of seeing my buddies there. There's enough. And what I'm saying is, I do it. It's 100% by choice. It's very rare, and I mean the only times when I would have to push myself now are when I've treated my body like crap, I ate garbage, or I didn't get any sleep. It's all on me, but it's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare.
I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead. You gonna say something?
No, it's your show, man.
I thought you were gonna say that. Was it the feeling? What's driving you? Was it the regret that if you don't do this, if you don't work out today, for example, you're gonna feel crap? Or is it if I work out, even if I don't want to, or my body doesn't want to, is the effect afterwards, the good feeling that I'm gonna get out of it afterwards? Which one was it most of the time?
That's a really important question, because what I'm describing is not sustainable. Okay, that's on my worst days. Those are only my worst days, where I would have to push myself. Where I would be like, get up, do it. You have to do it, because, you know, people, what are people going to say if you don't show, or whatever, right? Or what's your instructor going to think if you don't show up? Those are only my worst days. You have to understand that I don't think anyone suffers from a motivation problem. They suffer from an emotional regulation problem.
How so?
People know what they need to do, and for the most part, if they truly believe they could get the result that they want, that they desire, there'd be nothing that would stop them. And that is motivation. That's intrinsic. You're being pulled magnetically. You're drawn to something because you have a reason. You have a why, okay? And so anyone who finds the why, there's nothing will stop you if you believe that you're going to get the result. So,
and that you believe that it's attainable. Why?
You believe it's attainable. Yeah, you believe that you have the ability.
Yeah.
You have the confidence, or even like that you reach a point where something snaps inside of you, and you're going to do this come hell or high water. There's nothing that's going to stop you, right? How do you get there? How do you get there? This is the secret to life right here. You read the 4-Hour Work Week. If you read the 4-Hour Body and you read Atomic Habits, they both say some version of the same thing. And I think there's another book by B.J. Fogg, Tiny Habits. Yeah. James Clear is all about designing, eliminating resistance, designing your environment so that things become so easy and so natural that you almost can't help it. Tim Ferriss says it like this. He says, set the bar so low that you cannot fail. Here's an example. In the 4-Hour Body, he decided to use his dad as a case study. Did you know this story?
No.
His dad is like 5'6". His dad was over 100 pounds overweight. Like, he literally had 100 plus pounds to lose, okay? So he said, Dad, I want to help you. Like, I know that we can get you, like, we can get you lean and mean, we can get you to your target weight. Because he was already dieting and struggling and wanting to lose 100 pounds. At the time, his dad was losing about half a pound a week. He was on some kind of diet. He was trying to work out. He was doing what he's doing, right? Which is the kind of thing that people fall out of all the time. So he said, first thing we're going to do is, this is the example, set the bar so low you can't fail. We're going to do stage one, just stage one of the 4-hour body, which is the slow carb diet, the breakfast. The breakfast is 30 grams of protein within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Every single thing else from breakfast on, you keep doing exactly what you're doing, which for him was the habits that got him to 100 pounds overweight, right? Of course, his dad in the beginning was like, wow, I mean, why aren't we going to work out? Why aren't we going to die? He goes, Dad, you got to trust me. We're building a foundation. We're building a habit that is going to be ironclad. It is a rock solid foundation that's going to guarantee that you keep building on, right? So, I mean, he's like almost frustrated. It's so freaking easy.
Mm-hmm.
Have a protein shake in the morning and then just cruise for the rest of the day, right? Or have some eggs, and that's it, right? The thing is, that diet has spin-off effects. It eliminates cravings.
Yeah.
So now he was way less likely to snack.
Because protein is
just by
will
sheer
make you feel
hit and miss.
satiated.
Yeah, from sheer hit and miss, throwing in some extra little workouts here and there, which he was prone to do because he's training his subconscious mind to change his identity,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's starting to shape, but he's doing it in such an easy, low resistance way. He started losing 4 pounds a week. He went from half a pound a week to 4 pounds a week.
That's a lot, like 800%.
For 6 weeks, that's all he did. And just to cut to the chase, spoiler alert, he lost the 100 pounds and totally changed his life. Like, now he's not the same guy. He never put it on again. He's, as far as I know, at least the last I heard, which was a number of years ago, right?
Yeah.
But he, at least, it was sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
He never put the weight on. So he went on to progress to the other stages, right? Which is the rest of the diet, the slow carb diet, eating. I actually forget what that is exactly. I think it's more or less paleo, but there's also some carbs in there,
Time-restricted
starchy
diet
stuff, but
as well?
it's very controlled and it's fairly structured and whatnot. And of course the workout program he went on to, but only in bite-sized pieces. When he had achieved the habit that was so ironclad that it was easier to do than not do, it was unshakable part of his daily routine. Then he went on to the next phase. There's another example, a guy who became kind of a master of, training people that are morbidly obese and have been sedentary for decades.
Mm-hmm.
He would start them by getting them to go to the gym for 5 minutes. That's it.
Yeah.
Of course, you almost feel ridiculous going. You buy a membership and you show up there,
Just 5
walk
minutes.
in for 5 minutes and leave. Like,
Yeah.
of course, they almost feel silly, right? But the thing is, by walking in the gym 5 minutes, they've met their goal.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more pressure to do anything.
Yeah.
So of course they're going to go and do a few sets, and the next thing you know,
Positive feedback loop, basically.
yeah,
right?
There's no negative feedback whatsoever,
Mm-hmm.
and then they slowly build their confidence, and then slowly it becomes a habit. Before you know it, the negative feedback loop of body image and stuff like that, it starts to go away, and that positive feedback of now I go to the gym. That's who I am.
That
It's
becomes your part of your identity.
become part of their identity.
Yeah.
So now that bullshit story that they're fat, they're gross, they're, people are staring at them, that's just the thing that killed their gym progress every other time.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's overridden. So that is, to me, that's the foundation of how you build
Which
those
is
habits and that identity.
Yeah, which is transferable to a lot of stuff, a lot of things in life. Like, for example, reading. If you want someone to, have this habit of reading, let them read what they're interested into until they love reading, and then now they start
Yeah.
self-help books. That's something that they can actually use in life
Exactly.
instead of, like reading Harry Potter or something like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You start reading 48 Laws of Power instead.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it has to be as low resistance as possible in the beginning, right? And that's what people don't understand is people have a tendency to set them up for failure. They set themselves up for failure because they think that inspiration is the thing that's going to save them.
Yeah, but it comes and goes.
So the guy that I mentioned before, my professor, who was my mentor, that I did, was the supervisor of my master's degree, and we became dear friends. He said this in the intro of one of his books, and I got to find it because I don't remember the exact name of the book. But he said that people depend on inspiration, but inspiration really is like flatulence. And if you knew Billy, he would say it in a way less politically correct way if you met him in person. But it hits you right between the eyes, but it actually goes away really quick. So it's like a fart in your face. It might be like, whoa! It might be like, whoa!
Right.
And then it disappears.
And then you stop.
And it's gone.
And because it's gone, you stop doing what it's inspiring you to do.
Inspiration will always fade. It will always fade. So he said his philosophy became practices, daily practices and habits that you build are the thing that builds the life that you want, right?
Let's make it a part of your life, basically. Yeah. I read that some time ago, like Atomic Habits. It's, what did he say? You don't rise to the level of your expectation, you fall to the of your preparation or something.
The level of your preparation or your training,
Yeah, because the metaphor that he used there is a race. Everyone wants to win, but the guy who prepares the best is the guy who's going to win.
Yeah, and James Clear also says it's not the result that you get out of building this habit. If, for example, if you want to lose 100 pounds and you actually become that person and you lose all that weight, and it's the person you become. That's the reward from building these habits. It's not even the achievement. It's the person you become. So that's
100%. I mean, it's not being taught in any school. That's why it's more philosophical that you should be pursuing, like, not the title but the person that you can become. Like, realize that person who's more well-rounded, more enlightened, if you may. Yeah. Are you familiar with who's that? Cam Haines? Because you mentioned hunting.
bow hunting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cam
He's-
Haines.
He's kind of iconic in that sport, and it's interesting how you wouldn't have thought. I don't know anyone in particular in fishing, but I know a couple people in the hunting, particularly bow hunting, that and he's definitely one of them, who have a platform, you know, in
And
social
still
media and YouTube.
working a day job.
Yeah, he's actually quit that now, I think.
I
I
don't
think he's quit that now.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he worked at a mill for many, many years. I'm pretty sure he's done with that. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's devoted his life to bow hunting, and now he's kind of world renowned. He's been on Joe Rogan many times. He's the reason why Joe Rogan got into bow hunting. Him and John Dudley is the other guy who became his kind of mentor and friend. And these guys are, you know, kind of inspiration in many ways. Cam Hanes for his fitness, but also their sort of philosophy on how to be successful in life, you know. I mean, Cam Hanes runs with Goggins all the time, right?
Speaking of someone
Pretty-
losing a lot of weight, like David Goggins was what, like 300 pounds?
300 plus pounds, yeah.
Pounds and
Became a Navy SEAL
became a Navy
for
SEAL.
being an exterminator.
It's like a deposition.
What's
What's
that?
preventing you from doing it? It's the mold.
Well, I kind of fell back into old habits, old thought patterns, imposter syndrome, you know.
I think that's something that they don't.
And part of it is because my love life fell apart, you know, earlier this year. You know, I had a long-term girlfriend that came to an end that was very painful, to be honest.
Of course.
That's part of it. So that derailed me emotionally, you know.
You know that the reason why I pursued aviation was after a breakup as well.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's because you have all this negative energy, right? And you just I decided to use it to produce something positive. It's because, you know, when you're with someone, it's part of your daily routine, talking to this person
Yeah.
or spending time with this person, and then you created a future, you foresee a future with this person, and now that future no longer exists. And
Yeah.
you need to create a different future. And I think it's causing a lot of cognitive dissonance. Like the brain doesn't have any pain receptors for that reason. Because imagine if whenever we are disappointed, that we feel some actual physical pain in the brain, that's gonna be a living hell.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, physical pain, right? Like, yeah, and emotional pain is kind of the worst, you know?
Yeah.
It's worse than physical pain, I think. And I say that from a perspective of someone who's never truly suffered. I've had an infection that was so painful that I was like, if I had to live with this for months and months, I might want to shoot myself. But basically, I haven't had that experience, so I'll put that in perspective and humbly admit that I don't know what real physical pain is, I guess. But emotional pain can be very, very difficult, you know.
Oh yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, there's this vacuum that's created, and when it's filled with suffering, you know, there's pain and then there's suffering, and that's optional, but man, it can
Suffering
still
is
be
optional.
very, very hard to get out of it, right? And
What's your current coping mechanism?
go, well, I don't, I think I'm sort of beyond the coping stage, you know. I'm definitely at the acceptance stage of the if this is the way
The 7
it
stages
is,
of grief.
that I understand something. I understand I understand cognitively, and even emotionally. I understand that experience has taught me, and wisdom I've gained, that when a door slams in your face, another one opens. It might take a while, and it usually does because because of the pain, but also you choose suffering out of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just would give anything for it to be different, you know. And maybe not the well-adjusted people out there. They just move on, no problem. I'm told that some astrological signs are way more
Compatible than others?
they're way more adept at just moving on than others. I'm not one of those. so
Yeah, me too.
so
I'm a Gemini. Me
Right.
too.
I don't know what any of that means, but I'm just what I told my
No, since we're talking about
I
zodiac
don't I
signs.
still don't even like calling her my ex, to be honest. But my girlfriend, she knew so much about astrology. She blew my mind. She
Really?
blew my mind. It was like, oh my God, this is a whole world. Like I was kind of in this whatever, but
Interesting.
she really opened my eyes. Like holy crap, and stuff.
Do you actually believe zodiac signs?
There's
How much
things
in-
when
how much
when
in
somebody
percent do
learns
you-
things and they identify traits and you're like, okay, it's pretty hard to deny. But anyway, it's also I feel like women are the ones that tend to gravitate to it a little bit more. Sometimes women, unfortunately, can gravitate to the woo-woo, or also the sort of the we all can be a victim, but they can use it as a bit of a crutch sometimes. But I've found that in my experience that it's like, well, I'm this way, so it's in my astrological charts to be this way or whatever, right?
It's almost like self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and there's a danger to that, right? It's the same thing like, oh, my dad was this way. It runs in my family. We have eczema, or we have, prostate cancer. We have breast cancer in my family, or whatever. Right? It's kind of like that. So I try to avoid that as much as I can. But there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good to be drawn from it too, right? You could become self-aware, right?
Mm.
So anyway, I kind of fell off. I lost my train of thought.
You
there,
were
but I was
saying that you don't like call her as ex still.
well, I don't really refer to. But anyway, I had a point about that. But yeah, that it came to an end officially, finally in January. And
How long was the
so
relationship?
you asked me what my 3 years. You asked me what my coping mechanism
Coping
was.
mechanism, yeah.
I don't really. I mean, I don't have to have a coping mechanism anymore. I'm looking for the next thing, right? But I will tell you this. I fell into some negative habits, like doom scrolling, like shit that I don't normally do, and just like mindless consumption or playing some stupid game that's addicting that you get the dopamine hit. And I don't even mean like my Instagram is full of skydiving now, just one after another, and the Insta 360, and they're like, really, you just keep watching and watching and watching. That's basically what I watch on social media. Then I find, holy shit, Dre has an Instagram. Holy crap, there I am on his Instagram exiting the plane. I'm like, holy shit, this is cool. But anyway, that's mainly what I watch. I used to scroll with things that are stupid, like
Before you know
chicks or whatever,
you spent 3 hours already.
And I don't do that anymore. And that's one thing where, but yeah, I fell into that pattern because I was numbing. It was a numbing behavior. It was a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm getting back to flow. I jog even some mornings, which I didn't do for years because of ankle and problems, shin splints, knee issues, whatever. So things like that, I try and be in flow, and I'm starting to work on my YouTube channel again. I haven't really started posting because I want to take it to the next level, and I want to learn editing and stuff like that, and that's always been kind of I'm a technophobe, so it's a bit of a mental block for me.
Yeah.
But I just need to sink my teeth into it. because I love cool skydiving videos, and even creating that alone is worth doing, right?
Yeah. You should apply the Tim Ferriss thing in that video editing.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
do 5 minutes of it. Like edit 5 minutes of
You're
the
right.
video.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And just, I always had a dream to be on stages. And part of it is, like a tandem instructor, you make this connection with someone and they're gone, right? So it would
You have
allow
a dream of being on stage,
being a public speaker.
like TED Talk kind of stuff, Toastmasters.
Yeah. So I think I've learned some skills, and I actually, when I'm really truly engaged and passionate about what I'm talking about, I think I'm a pretty good storyteller. So I've
Yeah,
been
and
told.
you can do it nonstop without a script.
So it back when my self-development journey first started, and I was in workshops and things like that, I was like so moved and blown away and inspired by some speakers that it's like, yeah, I was on the street and now I make $400,000 a year or whatever, right? And I have and I have a wife that I love, and we're together, and and stuff like that. I remember seeing, and I was just like,
I want that life.
what I really want is, yeah, I want to be abundant, like where I don't have to work, I don't have to show up, I don't have to be anybody else for anybody else ever again, right? That would be a dream, but I want it in a way that I'm helping people,
100%.
impacting people 100% of the time. Because personal development, I would do for free. I do it. I listen to personal development YouTube videos throughout the day.
That's
I read.
my morning routine.
Exactly. So I do it all the time. What if I could actually pass on the wisdom to other people?
Yeah.
Move and inspire them just by like, imagine, what if this were easy? What if I could get paid just for being me?
And you can.
Things like that, right? So that's kind of what my next stage, maybe my
Have you caught yourself like
ultimate stage in life.
What
would
is
be.
your brain telling you that's preventing you from doing it? Because with me, whenever I think about like posting something, believe me, there's a lot of things that I want to post, but I feel like, oh, no one will be interested. No one will be interested. People will, will not like it. You will be perceived as someone who's, self-righteous, for example. If what else do I? What
Yeah.
el-
Who do you
what-
think you are?
Yeah.
Who are you to do this?
Who are
Yeah.
you
Who would
to
listen
talk
to you?
about
Who are you to
this stuff?
listen to you? Yeah.
Like, what's your credential to talk this stuff? You know what I'm saying? What makes you think you're right? Those are the
Yeah.
things that lingering inside my head. That's why I'm not
Yeah,
doing
why the
it.
hell would I listen to you about this when Tony Robbins says the same, or
Yeah.
or Lewis Howes is interviewing someone, or it's already, and so those are the things, right? And it's not even so much a specific, like we're putting words to it, right?
Yeah.
It's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's like for me, it's like I wake up and I just feel like I'm overwhelmed at work. That's a bullshit story I tell myself.
Yeah.
I'm never caught up.
Yeah.
I'm always running on a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Who am I? Like, I'll never be that guy who can actually create an offer or create something that's worthy of receiving income from, right? It's just sort of if I'm putting it to words, these are the things that,
Yeah.
the tape that runs in my head, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I was telling a buddy, I'm going to do a podcast interview
Yeah.
today. Well, who's interviewing? Who has a podcast? Well, Buddy Dre. Who is he? He's a pilot at the Drop Zone,
Yeah.
and blah, blah. It's like, well, is he trying to be famous, or why is he doing that? I'm like,
Why
Like-
does it have to have an ulterior motive?
yeah, it's not like, it's just a funny way of putting it. To be fair, the guy's first language is in English, but that was his first thing, right? So that is that social pressure of what other people are going to think of you, right? It's like So he thinks, oh, because you have a podcast, you're trying to be famous. Like there's automatically some fakeness to it, or there's some
Inauthentic. It's like it's not authentic.
yeah,
Kind
or
of
some,
like there's a
there's
vested
some
interest.
extrinsic motivation. I want to be famous.
Yeah.
I want to be seen. I want people to, I want to be one of those people. And hey, we all have significance driving us to an extent, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I've written down in the past, maybe I want to be on Lewis Howe's show.
Why not?
Oh shit! Can you imagine? Or I want to be on Joe Rogan's show,
Yeah.
because Joe and I,
He's black
I mean-
belt in Taekwondo.
yeah, he's a martial artist. He's a bow hunter. He's into martial, like, hey, we could connect on a million things. So these are thoughts I have, right? But why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? Really, that's
Jim
that
Ronan.
part of,
That's
there's
a
that
Jim
part of me.
Ronan thing, right? Like, why not you?
Why not me? Yeah. If not me, who?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, why do I have a podcast? Well, this is a good example why I have this podcast is because without this podcast, I don't have an excuse to barrage you with all these questions.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
at the drop zone, we cannot like, hey Kevin, can I talk to you and then ask you all these questions? No,
Yeah.
there's no. Having a podcast and with this setting allows me to ask you the questions that I asked you that will not be possible if we're at the drop zone. One, we don't have the time, and two, it's not the proper setting. Right?
Yeah.
And now since we're recording it, and we live in the day and age where you can put it out there and monetize it, then so be it. But that's not the main goal.
Yeah.
The main goal is to have an opportunity and to talk to interesting people with interesting background, like unique background that you don't see or probably know. So that's the main idea behind the podcast, and that's why there's no pressure. Like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, interview as much people in a week, in a month. Otherwise, you won't make money or something. But
Yeah.
if you're playing the long game, and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, it's because you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. But right now, people always think, whenever you're doing something, especially if it's something that you upload in the internet, you must be intending to be famous
Get
or make
attention.
money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but that is right there is, given that I have this in my mind, it's not something, there's probably not a day that goes by that I don't think about my YouTube channel, right? So I'm hoping that maybe I could share this on my channel,
Yeah.
and we can get some, but yeah, you could check out my channel and see, and here's the thing about my channel. First of all, I'm not going to say it's the best quality, but what I did was I realized that I was telling myself this bullshit story that I had to have these videos edited. They had to have like
Cinematic lighting.
whatever, right?
Transition,
Whatever, and I
whatever.
realized that is stopping me. So no more editing. No more editing. None. I literally went, I'm going to put out a video every day for the month of March of 2025.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been, but I did it.
Yeah.
Every day I posted a video for every day of the month of March of 2025. No editing. I just filmed it, start to finish,
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes. Did a thumbnail. My girlfriend at the time, she made the thumbnails for me. It was awesome
Yeah.
because she had skills in Canva or whatever, or I think Canva. And yeah, I did it. So can be done.
Can be done.
Can be done.
Yeah, it just need to be part of your habit, and then once it's part of your habit, then there's no more resistance, then no more forcing yourself.
Yeah, exactly like we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
you know. And the thing is, this to me is one of the art of living, is that you develop yourself into a better person in one area, but if it then you transfer it so that it becomes part of you. You're able to raise yourself up in the areas where you might be not as strong, right? You might be the things that are holding you back in life.
Yeah.
Like I recently realized that, to kind of chuckled at, love and money, those are the things where I suffer, right? Or where I struggle. So
I mean, a lot of people are
those
struggling.
those are the things that
I would say that's my struggle as well.
So,
Yeah.
but listen, before, like, I'm sure we got to wrap up at some point. There's something else I want to share with you, okay? That
Sure.
I got into. So, you know, back during COVID, I reconnected with this buddy of mine I used to work with, like a dozen years earlier or whatever, on Facebook. I don't remember why, but he mentioned lucid dreaming, and I was like he just said, that's really cool. You should try lucid dreaming. And I was like, try lucid dreaming. I kind of understood that it was, in a dream you become aware that you're dreaming, right? I had no clue that you could actually do it on purpose. And he took me down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And his name's Troy, my buddy, who has become, again, a dear friend. It is a practice, like kind of a spiritual practice in a way. And it's a thing in and of itself, and you can have a lot of fun doing it. I'm not going to say I've been very successful. Troy is what's the word? He's just unbelievably talented and skilled. And within, a month or two of him starting, he was getting multiple lucid dreams a month.
Really?
To the point that now he gets between, 10 and 15 every single month. A bad month for him is less than 10,
Really?
where he gets
What's
lucid.
the benefit of lucid dreams?
There's people who have cured 20 years of anxiety with one lucid dream. Like they realize they're dreaming, and they maybe do a state check, they call it. They're in the middle of a dream and they look at their hand and go, count their fingers and go, I have 7 fingers, I'm dreaming. Or they do the state check, they push their finger through their palm and I'm dreaming. Or they jump in the air and they hang.
Or tap the door case wherever you go.
Right,
Inside your dream, if you're in a
So-
washroom or something, tap
So they realize they're dreaming, and then they have an intention. Once they get lucid, they have an intention, and they say, like, show me my inner child, or something like that.
Interesting. It's almost like a
Like-
psychedelic trip.
Reveal to me, or you see a monster, and you say, who are you? Why are you here? Or something like that. Like, you have an intent, you want, like, show me my childhood wound, or something like that, And they've miraculous healing, or healing like cancer, or like some crazy stuff, right? It can be done. Or you can have sex with celebrities, or you can like
In your
skateboard
dream.
in space, or whatever, right? You can do some crazy stuff, or whatever. But you can make it a fun practice, or you can make it a healing or spiritual practice. And there's a lot of benefits to it.
And for sure,
It
they
be
can
very
use the
revealing. You can reveal things because you are staring at your subconscious mind wide open, right? In a dream. That's what it is. It's a reflection of some kind of painting, some kind of art of your subconscious mind being revealed to you, right?
For sure, they're using that to address some traumas and addiction as well.
Can be,
Oh.
yeah.
Probably. Yeah, because there are different stages when you're sleeping, when you're in REM sleep, deep sleep, light sleep. right? Where your brain is at a different frequency where it's more susceptible to more malleable, I don't know,
Yeah.
in terms of erasing or remembering or learning new stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast before, I think it's Dr. Michael Bruce or something, that they can um, change someone's, like, alter or address someone's addiction. Like, for example, I don't know, like what's gonna be a good example? Like like let's say cigarette for example. So at some point when someone is sleeping, they wait until he's at that phase where they will make that person smell the cigarette. So it's registering inside his brain, and then they will give the person like something bitter. So now the brain will associate the cigarette to something bitter. That breaks your addiction.
Wow.
So I don't know, maybe that's the same thing with lucid dream, wherein your subconscious is just open
Yeah.
for that you can rewrite it or override the existing code and change it to something more productive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you're tapping into the subconscious mind in a way that, if you deal with intention, and to be honest, I found it extremely challenging and difficult to get there. It's only happened a few times in a number of years, but I kind of like got discouraged and it kind of faded, because what you need to do is you need to dream journal. You need to write down your dreams. That's the first step, is remembering your dreams.
Having the intention to remember your dream before you sleep.
Yeah, that's the first step.
That
is
helps
dream
you.
recall. Yeah, tonight when I'm dreaming, I will remember that I'm dreaming. That yeah,
Yeah.
or I will remember my dreams and I will write them in my dream journal.
Yeah.
That's the first step. Is
Yeah. Interesting. From
anyway.
Taekwondo to skydiving, and now to you're also studying psychology, somewhat all over
Yeah.
the place. Eh? I mean, it's the same with me. I would say it's it's you know it helps a lot in terms of dealing with other people, especially with your job
Yeah.
or with what you're doing or with your interests. Dealing.
I just think it's fascinating to become more aware of the human mind, especially your own patterns and your own, because we all, like, I think everyone has pain and emotional challenges, and they have patterns and things they're stuck in, that hold them back and that limit them. Becoming aware and working on those to overcome them can open the door for a much better life, a
A
much
lot of
happier,
possibilities.
more successful, more fulfilling life of contribution, of actually of meaning, Like
What?
again, like Tony Robbins, I don't know if you've heard him say this, but success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, right?
Yeah.
So it's the science of achievement, learning to achieve what you want in life, but also the art of fulfillment, being happy and giving back to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Growth and contribution,
Yeah.
So
How about love? It's not part of it. Because it's part of the 6 basic human needs.
that is one of the 4 that he says are the survival needs, basically. Like
Love.
we all need it to survive. So if if it becomes one of your primary needs, it will.
It's kind of selfish.
No, I think what it is you'll probably experience a lot of love. You probably experience a lot of heartbreak too. It's basically,
Makes you vulnerable.
it doesn't mean you're going to grow. So you could be a love addict, right? Connection, love, you could become very sociable, and you become, you can even have a lot of great relationships, but they may not. You're without growth. They're going to be challenging. That's what I think is his whole point of why that. You'd have to hear him describe why that's one of the survival needs.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, let's face it, you can't really survive as a human without it,
Yeah, without
without love and connection. You know, you absolutely need certainty. You need variety. You go insane. You need significance. You know, you need love and connection. All those things are necessary. They're literally like food, air, and water. At some level, emotionally.
Yeah.
But growth and contribution are optional. They're not. You can get by without them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can get by with being selfish or never really
That's
giving
true.
back.
Yeah, man.
So,
What's next for Kevin?
man, well, I have to do some tandems tomorrow night at 4:00.
Tomorrow?
No. In all seriousness, yeah. I mean, I want to sort of leverage, as I say, there's a certain amount of fulfillment I get out of doing tandems. I say a certain amount because it's only one person at a time. So what's next for me is I really want to find a way to leverage that way of contributing to the world, and I want to, for lack of a better word, scale it. Yeah, I want to be able to
expand it.
Yeah, like maybe somehow use the credibility. So the guy I mentioned earlier, Joe Hudson, he has a podcast called, oh my God.
Joe Hudson podcast.
No, it's called The Art of Achievement, I think. I got to look it up. I forget. He does it with a guy named Brent Kistler, who's a base jumper. So in some way, Brent is a wise man. He's, he's a base jumper though. So he's leveraged his credibility maybe from that. So that's kind of what I would want to do.
You have all the credibility you need.
Do it, yeah. Do it in certain ways. So that, and, build on, basically also create more adventure,
Yeah. Look, man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a great conversation. Yeah, I really enjoyed
100%.
it. I really enjoyed it.
I don't even know what time it is and how long
I don't know.
it took.
A long time ago, I looked. Oh, it's 10:04. So we've been talking 3 hours.
3 hours now. It's like Joe Rogan.
It's Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Thank you, man.